Hi, Anu and Anupama. Lovely to chat with the two of you. So should I go with the person who inspired the story, the person who is bringing us this inspiring story? So both you, tell me, how did this come about, this collaboration?
I obviously kind of, I think, set the fire, so to speak. I wanted to make a film on a female protagonist in maths and science. And by the now famous, my daughter's statement, boys love maths and girls love English. And we found out that Anu Banerjee also lives in London. She lives, and I called her. We had a really lovely conversation, and we met up in Harrods, which was our mom's favorite place. So we met Nanika and I. Nanika, my co-writer, and I met her. She was there with Ajay, her husband, and her two daughters, and we had a 6-hour coffee.
Wow.
So yeah. And I think I'm not too sure, to be honest. Now, when I think back, I knew that I wanted to make a biopic on this maths genius. I don't know what I was expecting, but I think it was like, when she started talking about her mom, I just realized that there was just so much more to her. And we kind of started on this incredible journey of understanding her mother together, because she was revisiting her mom's life almost. So in a way, she was rediscovering her mom through this journey also. So I think it became like a journey for both of us, for all of us, Nanika, so we were kind of understanding the story together. And it was 2016, and her mom had passed away in 2013. So in a way, it was still very raw for her, and it was almost, I guess, like her way of, I don't know, reliving her past, things she had not thought about, the stories her mother had told her while she was growing up. So I think she got to visit a whole bunch of things, and we say that maybe it was a catharsis for her, and I think she can elaborate on that.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Definitely it was, and slowly, as the biopic, it started as a biopic, and as they started unraveling and getting into this, talking to to Ajay and myself, then we realized that Anu and Nanika realized that they needed to cover all aspects of her personality. It wasn't just enough to cover the fact that she was a human computer, and that was a given. That's what the world knew about her. But to actually, show her life as it really was, that was very important.
So I want to ask you, were you very good in math as well?
I loved maths. Yes, I was good in maths, but definitely not a human computer.
But did you ever figure while growing up, how does she manage to do this? I saw a video of hers, where she said, should I start from the left or from the right? And I, for the life of me, could not even get the one figure right, and there were 13 numbers. So what about you? Did you ever, like, as a child, wonder how does she do this?
Good question. I did wonder, but it was something that she was really good at, and she was a genius, a prodigy, and it's okay. But I think what I focused on was the mother-daughter angle. For me, she was mom. She's mommy.
Yeah.
That's all. For me, that's all she was. The world might have thought she was all these things, but for me, she was just mommy. And that's all that mattered.
I think, we forget that Shakuntala Devi was just a mom to her, and all she wanted was a mom, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, and when people ask her, and this is something, which was in one of the scenes which finally didn't make, and somebody says, so how does it feel like to have a genius as a mom? And she used to say, I don't know. I've never had a mom who's not a genius.
Yeah.
So she didn't know. Like, she thought all moms were genius, perhaps, when she was, growing up.
I thought that was normal. I really did. And we loved each other. She was a single mom.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
She was my whole world, including, my best friend as well, as I grew older. And that's what I focused on, really. And I was her whole family as well. So there was so many other things we focused on, and that's what mattered to us on an everyday basis. Yeah.
And also, as from the trailer, we could make out, I mean, like any mother-daughter, you had your moments as well. And as Vidya also said, she's happy that this movie is not a puff pastry. It shows life the way it was. And honestly, it takes a lot to show we are humans. We have our positives and the negatives, usually because families feel like portraying, the person in just the kind of light that this is God, they don't have feet of clay.
Yeah.
But you chose to even show the other aspects where you thought maybe she could be lacking.
Not sure she was lacking. How do you define perfect? I mean, perfect is somebody who does what you want them to do, really. Isn't that, that's what people assume is perfect. But no, she did what she believed in and what she believed was right at the time. And she was she might have been a human computer, but she was a normal person. She was a human being, and she had emotions, and she felt strong feelings, and just like anyone else. And she didn't aim to be perfect. She just aimed to be herself, and she struggled. I mean, her initial years were really hard. She came out of nowhere into this, not just in India, but traveled the world and lived her life to the fullest, with fantastic, with her personality, which was so vivacious, and she had this amazing sense. There was just so much that Anu and Nernika had to capture. It wasn't just the human computer, right? Anu, so much.
Yeah.
They had to compile and say, we're just going to, because there's so much material. We need to, in a 2-hour movie, how much can you really put? And that's exactly what they did. Very great.
Very brave of her to say that, to understand my mom, you can't just say that. And then I think what she said it really nice is that what we say lacking is not the way she saw it or her mom saw it. Because her mom was just being her mom. Because, in the stereotype, of what we expect a mom to be could be seen as lacking. But she was doing what she thought was best at that time. And I think it's very important that we all understand that, because we all have to live up to this sort of expectations put on us about what a mother should be, or if you're a genius, then you need to be ABCD. She did not conform to all of that.
True.
As you say, like now people say, oh, she's a genius, but that means she must be very respectable. She must be very serious. If you're a mother, you have to always sacrifice for your child.
Yes, this is exactly what Vidya said. When you're a mom, you're only a mom. Your other achievements come secondary. They're not to be taken into consideration.
Everything, there is a box for it. That's what I'm saying. If she was a genius, she did not fit into the box of how a genius should be, because she was fun. She was, witty. She loved to dance, and she loved to dress up. She loved her lipstick. So she did not fit into that box. She loved her daughter beyond anything, but she didn't fit into the box of what a mother should be. So she did not want to be boxed. And I think to understand a person like that, you cannot do a puff piece. You cannot, make her look, there is just no way. And anyone who has met Shakuntala over the years will tell you a funny anecdote. I mean, it was like, it was never an ordinary meeting. If you met, Shakuntala, she would, either have made you laugh or, made you think about something, or it would be a bit scandalous if she would have done something and you would have had your jaw on your floor. So I think to understand a woman like that, you have to go beyond the obvious. You cannot just make like a vanilla. She was so colorful. You can't make a vanilla piece on her.
Very true. And also tell me, you have Vidya Balan playing your mom, and you have Sanya Malhotra playing you. So what were your observations when you saw them like on set? And I'm sure you've seen a few of the rushes of the film.
Yes, I've watched the movie, and well, Vidya was the only one we had in mind for the role. Really, Anu? Yeah. Anu, I remember said Vidya, and that was it. There was no. I mean, if not for her, probably would have not. It wouldn't have worked. She's been absolutely amazing. She's brilliant, and she's the right one. I mean, in every aspect, she's able to capture the energy of mommy, in the role, and she's done justice to the role, and that's what's important.
And what about Sanya, who plays you? Did she sit with you? Did you tell her about things you did while growing up and to pick up these mannerisms, anything?
Well, yes, we did. When she was in London, we met. Obviously, we spent a lot of time with Vidya. We did with Sonia, came a bit later, and we did with her as well. But I think Anu and Nanika was, they kind of told them at a constant level throughout that period about how things were, right, Anu? And she was quite well informed. She was quite clued on.
Also, I think she responded instinctively to the
She
role.
did.
Like,
She picked up very quickly. She really did, very, very quickly. She didn't need a lot of, explaining or anything. She just seemed to grasp everything quite well, which is really good. And it definitely comes out. And the chemistry between them is absolutely amazing on screen. I mean, one has to actually see and appreciate it. It's fantastic the way they've.
The trailer that I've seen. I want to ask you one question, which was the one thing that your mom and you argued the most about? Mom and daughters always argue about something. There's always one term.
My mom had no concept of, she was diabetic.
Okay.
And so when I was really young, I didn't understand. Once I did, I would stop her you can't eat that dessert. You can't eat sweets anymore, mommy. Or if you do, just take a bite. That's enough. She had no, this thing about being health foods and all didn't exist. No, I mean, people talk about diets. I have never heard of a diet in my entire life. I mean, it was something so new, or people actually go on a diet, because what I was taught was enjoy your food. And she loved a couple of glasses of red wine and live life. There are no restrictions. Do what you enjoy. And so I said, like, mommy, you cannot eat that dessert because you're diabetic. Well, okay. And sometimes I would actually catch her having it behind my back. And that really made me angry, because it wasn't safe, and, she wasn't allowed to.
I don't think she knew boundaries. Like, she just did what that was, yeah.
As you said, she was a person who could not be boxed. And also what I love are the dialogues. Especially what stuck with me is the girl in Choti's doing math.
Yeah.
Why should I be normal when I can be amazing? And we Indians, it's normal. It's a word, drama or nothing.
Yeah.
Where did that come from? Did she have these particular quirks to her, or things that she would say? Where did all that come from?
So she is, I mean, of course, she is very quirky. I mean, like the one-liners in her, I mean, even, they would tell us these, I would say, like, we would be like, this is gold, because, like 90% of the one-liners are actually credited to Shakuntala herself, because she said all these things. If you actually see her interviews, she would just say all of these things. I mean, they remember, because I think you remember so many like dialogues from your mom's life, because
mind, of course.
because she would just say these things.
Sweeping statements, right?
Yeah.
Sweeping statements. Yeah.
Do you remember one offhand now that just comes to mind?
I think I know. I mean, she's been laughing at me because I remember so much of the things they told me.
We really enjoyed those sessions, didn't we?
Yeah, because I was just thinking about, I was just this morning, she went on a talk show, and talk shows were like recent in the 90s. I think, Shekhar Suman, I mean, whatever. So she went on this talk show, and she's told him that after she did the talk show, she told him, you know what, there's this man called Jay Leno. I think he's copying your show. So, do you remember that?
With a very straight face.
Yeah, with a straight face. So she did that. She could. I mean, I think, this so much of what Anu has told, Shakuntala has told Anu, and then Anu has told Ajay. And I think they have lived that, mummy, the mummyisms, were a thing for us. Like for them and for us, the Shakuntalaisms were like, so.
I think you should have a book on those, on those lines.
And so many dialogues didn't make it to the final film. And, there's so many deleted scenes as well. Like there is a deleted scene where somebody asks her, so how does it feel like to be a female journalist? And she said, so how does it feel like to be a male journalist? Female mathematician. So she turns around and says, how does it feel like to be a male journalist? When she's, and then somebody, and this is actually there in a video where someone says, so how do you, see when people like, she says, when an elephant walks, the dogs bark.
Yeah.
This is like, so she says these things, she had these one-liners. She would say, can I have 4 handsome men on stage? And 4 guys would come and say, oh, wow, aren't you confident?
I love it. And what about you, Anupama? Can you think of something that comes to mind that would make you crack up other than what Anu's shared with us?
Yeah, I remember when I was a little kid. I mean, I used to go with her for all these shows she would do in the various schools, all over the world. And the one thing that was consistent was that she would always pick on the headmistress, the headmaster, or principal, or whoever was the head of the school. She'd call them on stage, and then in the end she'd say, well, doesn't look like you were very good in maths, were you? And the children would be thrilled. If you can't do your maths properly, why do you expect them to? Things
True, which is true. I just so wish she had met my math teachers, because I'm still scared when I see numbers that I can't fathom them for the life of me. But it's just so wonderful to speak to the two of you. Maybe Anupama, the next book could be Shakuntalaisms. I think maybe we need that in these times.
Yeah. We need to carry on those sessions then.
We have so much material. Like what you said, in fact, in our sessions, I used to say, yeah, or drama, nahi, because now people will think I'm making it up.
Is Bollywood ready? Was another comment you made. Is Bollywood ready for this?
Yes. Yeah, because
yes, exactly. Please tell me about that, because I think they seem to be ready for this.
Yeah, I mean, in the sense that, of course, in 2 hours, there's only so much drama, you can put in, because you are also trying to achieve multiple aspects of her life. But, when you see the film, like her mind worked differently, right? So if you and I said, okay, if I do A, then B will happen. Like if she would say, if I did Z, then Y will happen, her cause and effect worked very differently. So I think, but equally, I think there is a truth but the truth of relationship between mothers and daughters. Even if you're a genius, it is, still fraught with the same fights we have. And I think that's what it is. I think when you see her life, it resonates with you, because you also do. I mean, all of us, are fighting that, that everybody wants to put you in a box, whether you are a housewife or whether you are a, genius, and women are constantly fighting that battle. And I think that's what I think, you kind of managed to say through the story. Yeah.
And quite a colorful person. Lastly, as we go, as you said, she loved to party. As Anu said, Sex in the City kind of parties way back in the 50s and the 60s.
Yeah.
And she loved dancing, and she was an astrologer. She was a politician. She was a storyteller. I mean, how did she manage to make time for all that?
Yeah, I know,
Yeah. That's a good question. I remember it was an average day for my mother was very action-packed. It's like you woke up in the morning, that's it. One thing after another, it goes on, you don't stop. And in between, if you can fit in a lunch or something, but it's actually, when I say action-packed, it's truly full of something going on all the time. That's how she lived, and that's how she managed to achieve all these great things.
Totally a life well lived, totally action. I mean,
yes, very, very high energy, and that's the only way she believed in living, really.
Awesome. And thank you so much for speaking to us. And Anu, thank you so much to release. How is the director feeling?
I think it's so much of all of us, right? It's not just me. So I feel like a huge responsibility, because I have because it's somebody else's story, and they have been very honest. There is so much of, everybody has exposed themselves, so to speak. So obviously, I think we're all like nervous, but at the same time, I feel like you said, it has been a very tough journey, because it's a challenging film to make. It's got so many things going on. I feel a sense of something beautiful, because I think there is so much of bond between this whole team that has come together to make it, from Anu and her family, Vidya, Sanya, Vikram, and all of us. I think there's been so much truth that has been, in this journey. Like all of us have had this pursuit of, going for that real thing. None of us have compromised. We haven't made change. There's so much integrity in this thing that I feel like I feel very satisfied. And, so I just hope that carries through, because I feel we've done justice and we've given it all.
I'm sure you have, seen the trailers and the music. That, I mean, I can't wait to watch this, because usually with biopics, you're like, I know about this person. But when I look at her, I was like, oh, I want to know this. I didn't know this happened. Really looking forward to. Thank you so much, ladies, for speaking to us, and all the very best. Looking forward to Shakuntala Devi.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. She's going to be proud of this one. Thank you so much.